Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the DFS Army Fantasy Football Show. I'm your host, Flex Shane. You can follow me on Twitter at @TheFlexNetwork1. Today, I'm joined, of course, by my partner in crime, Brandon Adam. You can follow him on Twitter at BrandonDAdam19. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we are in the heat of NFL training camps. Yes. We want to talk about the major storylines and position battles that are going to affect your fantasy football drafts in the coming weeks. Brandon, first of all, let's take a high level view of this. Is there one or two teams that you're really hyper focused on because you want to know what the hell is going on, either at the wide receiver core, with the running back core? What battles are you watching the closest?
I'm just watching the breakout candidates that I really have been sinking a lot of equity into this offseason. The Elijah Moore, Garrett Wilson battle, who's going to be the number one in that offense. The Rashad Bateman rise in Baltimore, that's a one that I've been watching. The backfield in Baltimore as well, that's another one. The Baltimore team, I'm super high on Baltimore this year. I don't know why. I just get a really good feeling about it. I feel like that team is like ready to take another step forward in their progress, and I think it's going to show this year in a big way.
I am working on a big overhaul of my rankings for the DFS Army draft kit. And I mean, it's been a month now. I think I released it on July 3rd, 4th last month, and there's been a lot of changes. And what's one of the biggest things that's been interesting to me is that, do you want to know who's going on Underdog as the QB number 3? Lamar Jackson, man. So people are buying into the hype, and I get it. There's a lot of reasons why, but that's really interesting.
It's a little
Rashad
high.
Bateman hype, man. I agree with you. I don't have him as my wide receiver or my QB. I have him as my QB 5, but QB4 actually, QB4. So it's right in that sweet spot. But he's still one of those high tier quarterbacks. The Bateman talk has been very, very interesting because he's been every bit the alpha that we thought we hoped he would be. But we have to set our expectations for Bateman, right? Like you and I believe that in a year or two he could really come out and be a Stephon Diggs level top 5 to 8 wide receiver in the league. Period. He's not there yet. He's got a lot of work to go. He battled the groin injury last year, so we didn't really get a full taste of what Rashad Bateman can be. But, there's certainly, all things are looking positive right now.
His profile is Odell Beckham, man. He is Odell Beckham, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And this guy is a legit wide receiver 1. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he popped into close to a wide receiver 1 status this year. That's where I think he could be top 15 if 146 vacated targets by Hollywood Brown in that offense. Yeah. I think Bateman is going to soak up every bit of that. And I think he's a better wide receiver, better complete wide receiver. And I think he's going to do more with those opportunities and targets.
Well, that's really what it's all about, right? It's what's he going to do with the targets? Because we do know Marquise Brown was absolutely peppered with targets, and
yes,
there's got to go somewhere. And if we want to just look at it from a percentage standpoint, it was 26% of targets Marquise Brown got last year. So let's call it, if Bateman
that's elite.
Secure, if Bateman can secure 22 to 23% of that, we always talk about 25% is elite. 20% is what you want into your top wide receiver 1s on a team. Anything less than that, it's way too ambiguous and it's hard to predict. Don't look at Mike Evans with a 16% target share last year. But that's definitely a major storyline we're looking at. You mentioned the Jets. We had Alan Seslowski on the show just last week. Or was it this week? I'm all messed up with time, brother. But yeah, it was this week. We had Alan on the show, and we talked in depth about his beloved Jets. Elijah Moore is once again looking like he's going to break out. That's going to be fantastic. Let's talk about some of the wide receiver cores that really have been confusing to me. And let's start with the Green Bay Packers, man.
Oh boy.
Obviously, Alan Lazard is going to be the one, right? Yeah. But rookie Romeo Doubs has made plays every single week in camp, every single day in camp. He wasn't, we talked about him, but he wasn't really on our radar in the pre-draft process. So how do you feel about that? Christian Watson obviously isn't practicing due to an undisclosed injury. That's worrisome for
it's not good
for a raw talent. So honestly, I'm kind of out on Watson this year, but I 100%. Just took Doubs in like round 14 of one of my best balls, about 30 spots above his ADP, and I felt good about it.
Heck yeah. I mean, if somebody's flashing like he is and he's gaining the attention of the guy that's going to be pulling the trigger for that offense and Aaron Rodgers, and he's telling you something's going on with this kid. He runs routes like a veteran. I don't know what it was about him. I just thought he was just a, okay wide receiver. He had ability, but I didn't see any special traits on him. But man, some guys just pop when they become pros, and it's all about opportunity and what coaches see in you. And it seems like these coaches are going to start giving this kid some opportunity because of the highlight reel catches he's making in practice every day, it seems like. But I do get some Bryan Edwards vibes here, like with the whole rise and the internet getting taken over by Romeo Dubs. I just feel that Bryan Edwards kind of fall, that's what I feel like. But this kid is in an offense that's so much better. The Raiders didn't know what the hell they were doing last year in offense, really. I mean, but the Green Bay Packers, if they have a plan for you, they will execute a plan for you. And that's huge. So I am so down with, especially with these best balls, like where he's getting, taken at, it's free. The guy's free. So you may as well just take the shot. Yeah, you may as well take the shot.
So my take on Romeo Dubs, again, he wasn't really on my radar. Really, so over our friends over at Roster Watch, the trash man of all people was the first one to point out Romeo Dubs. He was at the Senior Bowl, and for the most part, I mean, he had simple stem trees, and he did okay. But you remember the infamous rain day where everybody kind of struggled. He definitely had he definitely struggled that day, but as a whole, he had a decent Senior Bowl, which again put him on people's radars. He's got massive 10-inch hands, which is what you want to see in the Green Bay cold weather, right? I mean, those are massive hands. And listen, you have to pay attention to the reports. We've said it many times. Randall Cobb is there as a mentor, but he's not going to get major playing time. Sammy Watkins has done squat so far. I mean, he's had a few plays, but I mean, he's old. He's always been broken. So he doesn't scare me at all. And it's just
Green Bay should just sign Will Fuller right now. Like, go sign Will Fuller, wait, or sign Odell Beckham. Like, bring some people in. It just seems like they need a little bit of veteran help there, because all they got is Allen Lazard as a veteran in the wide receiver core room. So it just blows my mind that they haven't done that yet. It's pretty interesting, but I feel like Green Bay will sign somebody before the end of camp. I just feel like they're going to bring somebody in. Like, they have to, especially with Watson not being available. Like, that is. Whoever, like, that is a big deal, like, especially for his raw ability. Like, he needs those training camp reps to get going and be comfortable. And it just seems like he's going to be that guy that is going to be a 2-year. It's going to take 2 years for him to get going, because next year will be the learning year, like what he can actually do. Like, this year it's all about just like trying to soak it up. But he's definitely somebody I'm completely off on. I really haven't been on him at all, like in any of my drafts or any rookie drafts. I don't have any shares of that guy. So I was picking Dameon Pierce over him and Rashad White over him. So like, it just, like, that's just where I'm going with that. And I'm surprised, but not really.
I like Christian Watson a lot. He's the kind of kid that you really do cheer for. I think I mentioned it to you before, but I have a coworker who actually went to school with him. I got to know him pretty well. So he's one of these people that you cheer for. But it's going to be a rough year for fantasy football this year as he learns and gets acclimated to the NFL and missing these valuable reps, which, as we know, is hard enough to get into that circle of trust with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, just the fact that he spoke out about Dubs, like Rodgers, that is,
that's huge.
Turn faces, because he doesn't normally give that sort of accolade to rookie wide receivers. So you kind of wish it was Christian Watson, but it's Romeo Dubs. It is what it is. Don't get over your skis on this one, guys. As far as I'm concerned, for redraft fantasy football, Allen Lazard's the guy. We've talked about it a lot in the Bold Call show. He's worth jumping up around to get because he is the de facto number one in Aaron Rodgers offense. So
I want you to. Sure. Can you break down to the Green Bay running backs? What is your feeling about these running backs? What do you foresee, like, the ceiling for Aaron Jones? What do you foresee the floor for Aaron Jones? Like, we were just, I mean, in our group chat with some of our friends, we were talking a little bit about it, and I just want to understand where you stand on it, because I feel like AJ Dillon is going to be on the field quite a bit this year, and it's going to be interesting. But I'm hearing Aaron Jones is actually lining up in the slot, taking reps at the slot wide receiver, so he could be really peppered with targets like Trashman was talking about. So I'm curious what you feel about him.
Yeah, no, without a doubt, I'm on board with actually both these running backs where they're going.
Yeah.
So let me just pull up the current ADPs for both of these guys, and we have so Aaron Jones is going as the RB10. I've got him as my RB9, so I'm comfortable taking him just ahead of his ADP. But it's right around that early second round where Aaron Jones is going. More than ever, and this is a really interesting thing. So I'm just going to take a step back here, okay? When we're talking about Aaron Jones and really all of these running backs, right? It's been a long time since we've seen these aging veteran running backs continue to produce as a top 4, 5, 6 running backs. You see guys like Derrick Henry, Aaron Jones, Ezekiel Elliott. He's being drafted later, but he's in the conversation. Dalvin Cook, all these aging running backs that we're still continuing to draft over and above the Breece Halls of the world, the Travis Etienne, that next generation. So Aaron Jones is firmly in that category where all signs point to massive workload. I understand that AJ Dillon's going to have a role, especially in the goal line, but from any sort of PPR type league, whether it's 0.5, full PPR, any sort of bonus for first downs, I could see Aaron Jones having maybe not 10, 11 rushing touchdowns, but total touchdowns easily. I could see him getting 3-4 targets a game easily. But then he's also going to have those massive spike weeks where he's going to get 7, 8, 9 targets, because I do believe that with just you just have to what passes the smell test, right? Are they going to trust all of these rookies out there, or are they going to have times where they're going to have both AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones on the field? So I'm totally comfortable drafting both of these guys. And where I have AJ Dillon ranked, and this is just I do my rankings and then I match it up against the ADPs and I say, hey, how does it look? And I got AJ Dillon as RB24, and he's going as RB24 in Underdog Best Ball Drafts at 66 overall. So I'm comfortable taking him there. Now, generally speaking, I'm getting more Aaron Jones than I am AJ Dillon because of just, again, one of the things we talk about on the show all the time is that ADPs are so sharp nowadays. If you just went in blind and just drafted at ADP, you can have a pretty good team. But it's important about your roster construction. And where AJ Dillon is going, that's where I'm either going to go with one of those high-end elite quarterbacks, be it a Jalen Hurts, or you're going to shoot for the moon, because guess who's going right around AJ Dillon? It's our guy Elijah Moore, right? So I'm probably going to go Elijah Moore over AJ Dillon. So that's just how I'm building my team. For me, for a simple redraft where you have to start your lineup every single week, AJ Dillon worries me, right? He's more of a flex play as far as I'm concerned. So where you have to draft him is a little bit risky. But obviously, if there's an injury, then he just has massive upside. So the short answer is I have nothing but confidence in Aaron Jones this year.
Very good. Okay. Yeah. I just wanted to clear that up because I mean, there are some sharp minds on Aaron Jones this year. They're talking about taking this guy at the back end of the first round in redraft, and they are very comfortable doing so. So that might be a really sharp take that I'm just not quite on board yet, but he definitely has that massive upside that you want in the passing game for sure.
So let me just read you out my RB rankings. Okay, let me know if you would take Aaron Jones above any of these guys. Okay, so JT, Christian McCaffrey, Austin Eckler, Dalvin Cook. Then I have Najee Harris, Derrick Henry, which I'm below consensus on, Joe Mixon, which I'm bang on consensus, DeAndre Swift, and then Aaron Jones. So right after Aaron Jones, I got Saquon, and then Leonard Fournette, then Alvin Kamara. So those are those are basically my round 1 and 2 running backs. I'm pretty comfortable with that. Again, because the reason that I had DeAndre Swift above Aaron Jones is, one, from a talent perspective, I like Swift over Jones. From a usage perspective, it's probably going to be pretty similar, but from a touchdown equity perspective, AJ Dillon's going to sneak just a few extra of those touchdowns away.
Dude, I'm telling you, I think I think this offense is going to be so old school looking because of just the passing targets aren't there. I think I think AJ Dillon, from what I've been reading from the coaches, are they love getting this guy out in space with pass routes because he's so monstrous when he gets going that nobody's going to be able to take him down. He's going to get 8 yards on a pass, no problem, every single time because he's just a monster. And so I see a lot of passing downs going towards AJ, even because of the vacated targets in their offense. They have to do something.
Yeah.
So, and they're talking that AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones will be on the field at the same time quite a bit this year. So I'm pretty high on AJ Dillon this year. I think he's going to be a sneaky guy that's going to turn into a really solid RB2 for people.
Yeah, if you go super early wide receiver, or if you decide to go, like I did one best ball where I was testing it out, right? So I ended up getting Travis Kelce in the second, and then Josh Allen fell to me in the fourth, which I have 0 Josh Allen shares, so I wanted to pull the trigger. So I went tight end and QB early. And to be honest with you, I'm not loving how the team's looking, but if you're going to go that route and you need like that ripcord running back, AJ Dillon's a great candidate for that ripcord running back.
I love that.
Yeah, so that's interesting. Let's move on to another backfield that I'm finding quite interesting, a backfield that I'm quite curious about, and that's the New England Patriots. Okay, so my beloved Patriots. There was a lot of talk. I mean, Ramondre Stevenson last year, he impressed. We all remember that epic preseason that he had. And the thing is that as a prospect, he didn't really jump out. You know, I say he's quick for a slow guy. But this year he's trimmed down. He's starting to overtake Damian Harris with the first team reps. But the thing is, it's still pretty even. And that provides a little bit of worry for me. So we're at the point now where Ramondre Stevenson is actually going ahead of Damian Harris by a good round, which I find to be very, very interesting. And so my question to you is, are you happy, comfortable taking Ramondre Stevenson? He's going as the RB32, 97 overall. Bang, bang, right after him at 97. So Stevenson's 97.1 ADP, Damian Harris right after him at 97.2. So effectively going back to back. Generally speaking, we've always said, and this isn't just us, this is the industry says, whatever New England Patriot running back you take the last one. Take the last one being drafted. Now,
better value.
Maybe we don't want to go with like Pierre Strong, who's been a little bit injured, but it's going to be between Ramondre Stevenson and Damian Harris. So, one, where you're getting these guys in the late 8th round, early 9th round, are you comfortable drafting them there? Because obviously they're death pieces at this point. But if you had in a pinch to start one of these guys, are you comfortable starting either of them? None of them? What's your take?
You know, with the Patriots, I don't have any faith in the Patriots in being consistent. Yeah. The only guy I really have interest in is Mac, and that's it. But if I'm forced to go with these RBs, it's Ramondre. Yeah. I think he is more talented. I think he runs harder. I think the coaches really like him. I think they make excuses to get him in there, and I think it's showing this training camp that they have supreme interest in getting this guy some very big totes. So I think I'll take Ramondre over anybody in that backfield. I just feel like he looked really good last year, and I just feel I mean, when he was rolling, man, there was nobody else I would take in that offense besides Ramondre last year. So I liked him. I'll take Ramondre over Damian any day, talent wise.
Would you take Damian Harris at all, or you're just out?
No, I'm out on Harris 100%. I'm out. Honestly, I'm out on those RBs. Period. I don't need to pick them where they're going because I'm already set at RB by the time I get there. So I'm out on that, like I said. But Mac Jones, I'm telling you, Mac Jones, if you're in a super flex league, Mac Jones is a guy that I have real interest in as my QB2, and I'm excited to have him because it's like what Trashman was saying. His air yards were out of control last year, and I think he actually has a lot of untapped production that he wasn't getting last year, and I think he's going to get this year because A, he's more comfortable, and B, I think the team around him is better than last year. So I think it's just going to be better this year.
Yeah. So what's interesting is that Devonta Parker and Mac Jones have shown pretty.
Parker's good, dude. Yep.
Yeah. So
Parker's a guy I have a couple shares of him in best ball because I needed wide receiver at that point, but I think he's somebody that has extreme value. I think Mac and him are going to do really well together. He's exactly the kind of wide receiver that Mac needs, and it was a sneaky acquisition for sure by the Pats. I kind of like that one.
Yeah, no, absolutely. They didn't really have to pay much to get him.
Nothing.
I mean, Jacoby Myers continues to plug along as that chain moving player, but especially
Parker's going to be the TDs, baby.
Yeah, and you got Stevenson and Harris who both have a nose for the end zone. It's going to be rough going for Jacoby Myers. From a fantasy perspective, he's going to be great as a Patriot, moving the chains. Again, any sort of special league where you have points for first downs, that sort of thing, he'll be great. But if I'm going any wide receiver, which let me preface by saying I'm generally avoiding this backfield or this wide receiver core. I just moved Devonte Parker a couple spots ahead of Jacoby Myers in my rankings.
Yeah,
so
100%.
That's where I'm
right there with you.
That's interesting. Okay, let's move on to your beloved Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, I knew that was coming. Yeah.
So from a quarterback perspective, Geno Smith was getting the first team reps for most of the first couple days of training camp, but now Drew Lock he got a few first team reps. Superflex, are you taking any of these guys? Or I'm out on both. Like it's just
I'm out. I'm out. The only guys I really have interest in, I have a little bit of DK Metcalf because of how far he's fallen. I feel like he's going to get his numbers kind of no matter what because he's just an elite talent. I think he has some value in redraft for sure this year. He's a guy that I don't mind. And Geno Smith proved that he can do one. The first read is fine. He can do that. But it's the secondary and third reads that he has a problem with. And so I feel like DK is a good value, but Penny, it's all so this whole offense is going to be predicated on Penny and seeing what he can do. If he can stay healthy, he will be an RB1. He will be. It's just a massive if he can do it. But it's a contract year, so I'm hoping he can stay healthy and do it. But our boy Kenneth Walker is going to have a slow year if Penny continues to stay healthy and is a starter. But it seems like every time I'm seeing anything with Kenneth Walker, he's pass catching in camp like a lot, and he's doing it really well. Which is great.
Why does that matter? Why does that matter, Brandon? Because the biggest question mark people had coming in with Ken Walker versus Breece Hall was, okay, Ken Walker, maybe from a pure running back perspective, running the rock, Ken Walker's maybe got the edge, but Breece Hall dominates them in the passing game. Yeah. Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Ken Walker
he can catch
into the third down back, and he can catch.
Yeah,
I am on record of saying, and I'm going to double down on this.
Let's do it.
I believe now. Look, okay, so I believe Ken Walker is definitely the superior talent to Rashad Penny. Okay, he won the award for running back of the year in college football last year. He's an absolute monster. But Pete Carroll's old. He's curmudgeonly. He's going to give Rashad Penny. I mean, look, you can't deny that Rashad Penny had a crazy end of the season last year when he did stay healthy. It's going to be a mistake not putting Ken Walker on the field. And the only reason I can see them doing it, if we really peel back the onion, is they want to get him acclimated to the NFL. They're not going to re-sign Penny because why would you pay your aging, hurt running back?
No chance.
Then Ken Walker's years next year. So that's just a reality. Unfortunately, as dynasty managers, it pains us because we took Walker quite early. But that's the writing on the wall. So
his talent dictated you to take him that early. He is that guy. It's just we're going to have to wait. 2023 is going to be his huge breakout. I think that. So if you're a savvy dynasty guy, go after Kenneth Walker around week 6, week 7, week 6, week 7, when people are pissed off and not happy about it, and snatch him up, and you're going to love him in 2023. That's when you want to have him, is 2023. You there, buddy?
Yeah. No. So, but yeah, I know I'm here. I'm sorry. My signal's cutting out a little bit. Okay, so let's move on then to. Can you hear me, Brendan? I'm back. Am I back?
Gotcha. Okay. You're back.
All right. Let's move on to Denver. Okay. This is another contested backfield. Javonte Williams, man, before Melvin Gordon was on the team, he was going as a top 5 pick in best ball drafts. He's now right around the 2-3 turn. There's been a lot of conflicting reports out there. There's been the 60-40 splits. There's been the 70-30 splits. Benjamin Albright came out and said, what was it going to be, 56-44? Like, nobody really knows, but it's going to be close to 50-50. I think, honestly, at the end of the year, I bet you it's going to be 60-40 because we've talked about it. Melvin Gordon is still good, but Javonte Williams is elite. And it's the same situation with Seattle. It's going to be too muddy. These guys aren't, Penny's going to pay off because he's so damn cheap. But Javonte Williams, man, I'm starting to get more and more worried about taking him in his ADP, despite the fact that he's an absolute elite talent. So are you good with him at the 2-3 turn, or is that too early for him?
No, I'm fine with him. I think this whole Gordon thing is going to be overblown. I think they selected Javonte and they let Gordon go to free agency for a reason. They let him do that because they were secure in their scouting for Javonte and they knew what the role was going to be for him this year. And from everything I've been reading and from Javonte and interviews and everything, he's going to get more pass catching this year. So that should make up for some of the rush that Gordon's going to take. But it seems like he's going to get a lot of those pass catching downs. And honestly, it feels to me, remember last year when JT was going around the same spot last year before, and people were saying, Nyheim Hines is going to take away all the third down work and there's going to be nothing for JT and all that stuff. And look what happened. JT just blows the doors off of everything and everybody looks stupid for not taking him. And that's like Javonte has legitimate top 5 upside, legit. And if they give him 65 split, I feel like he can get close to that, and he's going to pay off his ADP. And I think talent wins out here. I bet on talent, and I feel like his talent is going to overcome this veteran presence of Gordon, and especially when Russ gets really comfortable throwing him the rock and just getting comfortable with him and seeing how juiced the team gets with him, I guarantee you Russ is going to go, hey, we got to get this young buck the ball more and more because this kid is just unstoppable. Nobody can tackle him. He breaks more tackles than anybody in the league. And I mean, you just got to kind of follow the talent there. And I feel like that is what I'm going to do with him. I understand he took a dynasty value hit because Gordon re-signed, but honestly, I'm going to go buy him more now because he's cheaper in dynasty. Because before that, he was like 3 first,
unattainable,
unattainable. Like you could not get him. And so I feel like this is the time to go buy Javonte. If you want to go get him for the future. And I feel like I think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to be fine. I think that whole offense is going to produce a lot more points than people realize.
It's going to be so good. It's going to be very good. Okay, I'm kind of on board with you. I'm comfortable drafting him where he's going. I will say I did move him down in my rankings only because I moved Alvin Kamara up. So I now put Alvin
Kamara is Kamara's Kamara.
You have to, right?
You have 100%.
If he's going to play every game. And look, Michael Thomas being healthy is going to take a hit on Kamara's overall outlook this year, especially because oh my God, Chris Olave, oof,
he looks so good,
so good. He looks so good. But look, Kamara's still Kamara. He's still a steep discount, getting him at the end of round 2. So that's the only reason. It's not so much I moved Javonte down; it's just that I moved guys up, and
100%
by default, somebody's got to go down. We got to talk about the Atlanta backfield, okay? Because Tyler Algier, who's an absolute tank, he's 5'11", 224 pounds, had some of the most impressive college numbers last year in the sport. He is looking to be firmly the RB1. Now, we talked about Tyler Algier a lot. You were probably the highest on him, I would say, coming out.
Thank you.
So tell me about this. And more so Tyler Algier, he's still relatively cheap in drafts. How high are you willing, or actually,
where did he go?
Let's play a little Nostradamus game, okay? Where do you think he's going to be going by the start of the actual season? Because right now he's going as the RB46 at 143 overall. Where's he going to go come last week of August?
So my latest best ball I just did, he went in round 12 at pick 142.
Okay,
So I feel
ADP.
honestly, I think he's going to jump 3 to 4 rounds by the time camp ends because his opportunity is massive. This guy is a 3-down back. He can catch the rock. He can run the rock. He has the build to carry a massive workload. That remember, Arthur Smith had Derrick Henry, right? He loves to run the rock, right? And so I feel like they are going to use his big body to get I think he's going to get 20 touches a game easy. And I think he's going to get pass catching duties as well. I feel like everything coming out of ATL is telling me that Cordell Patterson.
Yeah.
Cordell Patterson is not going to be running the rock like he was last year. It's just not going to happen. He's older. He's not going to be able to. He broke down last year. His ankle was. He would look like he was running with one leg, honestly, last year. So I think they understand that, and I think Tyler Algier was their value pick. He's going to be a diamond. I'm telling you, he's going to be a diamond for fantasy players because he's good. He can be your RB4, RB5. You know, like he can end up producing for you as an RB2 if he gets the workload that I think he's going to get. So I'm all in on Tyler Algier. I've been all in on this guy. He is James Conner of this year to me. I feel like I think these coaches really like him, and everything I'm seeing with tape, he is killing it in camp. So I feel like he's going to be that number one guy for them, and people better catch up because his ADP is going to, eat the value now because it's going to skyrocket in the next month.
Yeah,
100%.
And that's how you win the game, right? Is you predict these players that are going to move up in their ADP. So Tyler Algier was a 5th-round pick, the Atlanta Falcons this year. He actually started his career in college as a linebacker. So he played most of the 2019 season as a linebacker, and then by the end of the season, he did convert over to a running back. So last year, okay, let me just read you some of the stats. We've already read some previous shows, but just for those,
go for it, dude. It's amazing.
Right so in 13 games. He had 276 rush attempts, okay? He had a total of 1,601 rushing yards, which ranked third in the NCAA last year. He had a total of 23 touchdowns last year, which was tied for first. He had 28 receptions for 199 yards, which accounted for a 10% target share. That is impressive. When you look at the raw pure stats, that's what you look for in one of these running backs. Now, we weren't sure how he was going to translate to the NFL. And so he was a little bit lower in our rankings. We had him, I think, I want to say we had him as a round 3 pick in our rookie draft. So we were a little bit higher.
I had him in round 2.
Of course you did.
My rankings. I was early on him. I've been on him since the beginning, man. So,
but it's looking like it's coming home to roost. Now, the only thing I will say is I will say a little bit of caution. Don't overinflate his ADP, right? If he gets round 10, round 9, like that's kind of going to be the sweet spot because that's where we see other guys like Rashad Penny going a couple of weeks ago. That's like that uncertainty zone, right? But I could definitely see him at some point passing Cordero Patterson as the RB1 on that team being drafted. And the problem is that we don't know how good the Falcons are going to be. So how many red zone opportunities is he going to get? And if they're talking about a 3rd down back, Cordero, he's good at passing or catching the rock. So
they need him as a wide receiver too, though.
Yeah, maybe, but
they need him.
I worry about the total fantasy impact for Tyler Algier for this season. Now, again, what you have to pay, it's not bad. I'm just going to cop out and say he's probably going to be a better best ball player, but he is absolutely somebody you need to get on your bench. He is a perfect, massive bench upside because, to your point, he could be like the James Robinson. Now, obviously, he was drafted, but we're coming out of nowhere, making a major impact, no depth chart to be spoken of, and he's going to absolutely break out. So we love Tyler Algier. I want to move on here, Brandon, so we can talk about a few of the other backfield situations. We got to talk about Washington one last time. I don't want to beat a dead horse here. I don't want to beat a dead horse because we're talking about Antonio Gibson. There's some risk associated with it. I agree with you. I feel like the hate has gone too far.
It's too far.
The guy was playing with, what was it, a hairline fracture in his ankle last year?
No, it's tibia.
It was a problem. It was his tibia.
It is in his tibia, dude. Like his leg was all like not great for 7 weeks, and he played straight through that. I mean, come on, like. And then as soon as he was healthy, he killed it. Like,
so I think we're generally pretty bullish on Antonio Gibson if he can stay healthy. Brian Robinson's fine. He was good. He had a decent last year in college, but he's not elite by any stretch of the imagination. So these fears that he's going to take away all this, like J.D. McKissic's going to get the pass and down roll, Brian Robinson's going to get the all the red zone looks, and we just don't buy
it's a joke.
It. You know, at the end of the day, the talent's gonna go up. So we're bullish on Antonio Gibson.
Especially at ADP. I mean, he's going in the 8th round, 7th round, guys. That's free. That's free, bro. Like, like he could be your RB. You can literally fade RBs like all the way till round 8, and he could be your RB2 if you just took one foundational back at the top tier. Like, I'm so comfortable doing that. I have it all over my best balls, man. Like, he's my RB3, RB2, all sorts of teams I got.
Yeah. So
I'm in.
I just wanted to say we're bullish on Antonio Gibson relative to his ADP. The hate's gone too far. So draft him with confidence where you have to pay. Philadelphia. Okay. Miles Sanders is trash. Kenny Gainwell. Apparently his biggest improvement year over year, has been the blitz pickup and the pass blocking, pass protection.
Good.
So for a third down back that we believe, for the most part, I kind of like him better than Miles Sanders. I mean, I do. Miles Sanders if you want 3 fantasy points a week. Kenny Gainwell's free as well. So we're in on Kenny Gainwell. We're out on Miles Sanders. Anything more to add there?
No.
All right.
Moving on.
Kansas City. Okay.
Here we go.
City because our boy, Michael Dickinson.
Yep.
Michael Dickinson was high on. He's like, go. We got the receipts, baby. Isaiah Pacheco, a player you have to watch. And guess who is shining in camp?
He's killing
round 7. Yeah, he was drafted in round 7 by the Chiefs. And it looks like he's going to be taking some of these major touches, the important touches away from Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Ronald Jones, and the agent Jerick McKinnon. So honestly, my takeaway from this is stay the hell away from that entire backfield. It's going to be
100%.
But if you're going to take a shot on the guy, fade Ronald Jones because he sucks. Fade CEH because he sucks. Sorry, CH. I thought I loved you, but I don't. Draft Isaiah Pacheco with like the last pick of your draft. The dude is absolutely electric. He's got a 4.37 40-yard dash, which is like a 99th percentile speed score. Okay.
Yeah.
When you look at translation of the athleticism to NFL production, speed score is one of the most representative of that. Okay.
Especially for RBs.
Recent years, Andy Reid hasn't really played that workhorse back, but I think it's because he hasn't found his workhorse back. I'm not saying Pacheco is going to be that guy for sure, but if I look at the range of outcomes, would it be so crazy to say that by the end of the season, Isaiah Pacheco is going to be the RB1 in that offense? No. And those are the types of shots you want to take. You want upside on your bench. You get your wide receivers early for that reliability. You go hard on the Tyler Algiers, the Isaiah Pachecos. These are the players you want to be targeting at the end of your bench to win your league. Roster construction is important. So, I don't know. Do you have anything to add to Mr. Pacheco?
I'm actually 100% with you on that. Mike Dickinson, dude, is a sorcerer from another galaxy. Like, this guy, I swear to God, man, like, he has some of the craziest takes, and they end up panning out, man. Like, honestly, and Isaiah Pacheco, we were giggling about it throughout the whole rookie season because, like, this guy is so freakishly athletic that, like, he just needed a shot. Rutgers was just terrible. Like, the line was horrid. The quarterback play was horrid. Like, especially like Isaiah Pacheco and Bo Melton. Those two are freak show athletes that they had, and they just couldn't do their job just because how bad that line and how bad that QB was. So I'm in on Isaiah Pacheco. He has natural hands. He's catching the rock. I think they cut Jerick McKinnon to keep him because they had to cut somebody. I think Jerick McKinnon is gone. He'll be the old guy that's out. Isaiah will take that spot. And then I think over the year, I mean, he's a best ball guy for sure right now. But this is a guy that you can go throw a third rounder, fourth rounder in your dynasty leagues and just go acquire him just because he might be a home run and he might end up being the guy for them because honestly, nobody's running away with that job. Clyde can't stay healthy. Clyde isn't producing. Ronald Jones is Ronald Jones. I mean, he's just a guy. And, you know, like if Isaiah Pacheco is a freak show out there, then I think Andy Reid goes with the young, talented guys. I just feel that, and I can see that happening in that offense for sure.
I would say more so than a lot of other teams, it really is a meritocracy, right? The best players are going to play for Andy Reid, and Isaiah Pacheco has an outside shot. So I like that. That's it for the running back duos. But before we go, I just want to talk about one wide receiver group that has turned some heads. The Tennessee wide receiver core. Okay,
here we go.
Robert Woods is apparently healthy. He had Friday off for training camp practice, which is good. You know, just kind of that veteran rest. He coming off the ACL. Our boy, Mr. Treylon Burks, had challenges in OTAs with the conditioning. He clearly has come back. He's in shape. There's been not a murmur that I've heard about conditioning issues. He's killing it in camp. Dare I say, the most upside wide receiver. We're going full circle, baby. This is where we were at back in February. I think we're back here again. Treylon Burks, most upside this season when you look at the talent and you look at the quarterback that he's going to be playing with. Ryan Tannehill, look, we like Drake London. Love Drake London, in fact. This season, Ryan Tannehill's the better quarterback. I'm going to defer to the better quarterback. And Trey Burks, man, he is just making plays in camp again. So, I don't know. Are you I'm pushing Trey Burks up my draft board.
So if you looked at my exposure on Underdog, I have 80% Burks exposure to all my drafts. Okay, so I am so in on Burks being their wide receiver one. He was drafted to be the replacement for AJ Brown. I think it's going to happen. He heard the outcry about his conditioning, and he heard the criticism. He came back and he's flying around. He looks at least 10 pounds lighter to me on his feet. He looks like he's not fatiguing at all. He has powerful hands. He's physical. He can run routes. He can do it all. And if you don't draft this guy where he is going right now, you just are playing fantasy football wrong. This guy has league-winning upside just because of the opportunity in front of him. I understand Robert Woods is a good player. I get it. Robert Woods is a nice wide receiver too, and it actually makes me more bullish on Treylon that Woods is going to be healthy, because now they got to defend both of them, okay? And it's not going to be double, triple coverage on Treylon Burks because there's nobody on the other side of him. So I just feel, man, with that run game, stack boxes, play action, big wide receiver down. I'm telling you, this guy has wide receiver 2 upside and a league-winning type of guy in the 7th, 8th round. You can get him in right now. And it's just, if people are out of control with their Twitter hate, I mean, people need to chill out, okay? And if you literally just bought the dip on his ADP just because of those damn reports about his asthma flaring up, congratulations. You're doing this correctly, because remember Jamar Chase last year couldn't catch a football, couldn't catch a real NFL football. Bullshit. It all was BS, man. And this is exactly that. It reminded me exactly of that. The reason I had this guy as my wide receiver 1 for the class is because of how different he is as a physical specimen, and he can handle the volume, and he's going to get volume, ladies and gentlemen. And that's what you draft if you want to win your leagues. And that's what I'm drafting. I'm all in on Treylon. Love him.
There you go. Love Treylon Burks. Just one last thing before we head out here. So AJ Brown, the previous Tennessee Titan, now Philadelphia Eagle. For those of you who are worried about the usage because they're going to be a low passing offense, AJ Brown, man, he is the de facto number 1. He's getting all the looks, and he looks outstanding. Instant chemistry.
He looks fitter.
Jalen Hurts. He looks more, if that's possible. Oh, God.
Bro, he looks like he lost some weight. It literally looks like he lost some weight, and I'm so for that, because he was a big dude, man, and he was taking a lot of hits. But I feel like his explosiveness will be even higher now, because he just looks better. He looks way more in shape this year to me.
Yeah, I'm above consensus on AJ Brown where I'm drafting him, but right now I would say draft him with confidence. Don't be afraid.
Mm-hmm.
Buy
Mm-hmm.
the dip early round 3. So that's it, Brandon. I mean, we're going to be here pretty much for the rest of the offseason. We're going to be here throughout the entire NFL journey. So go over to dfsarmy.com. Make sure you sign up. Get a membership. I mean, that's what we're doing here. I don't know if you saw, but we had one of our pro members take down one of the preseason contest, the Hall of Fame contest.
Nice.
This week.
Nice.
Hang around. So I mean,
good for them.
People are winning every single day, man, over at DFS Army. Underdog. We've been talking about Underdog a lot. Go over to underdog.com. Use code DFS Army. 100% deposit, first deposit match up to $100. So that's $200 you can put into your account. And the best way to get sharp so that you're not freaking out when you're on the clock in your real life fantasy drafts, reps. Get those reps in. Understand different values, players that you like. Try some things. I just this week I tried a Travis Kelce, Josh Allen build, and to be honest, I didn't love it, but that's how you know.
One thing I want to mention before we go. Yes. How about my guy Trey Lance, guys? This guy is gonna be the next one. I'm telling you guys, draft him. Stack him with Ayuk. That's the one. That's the stack you want. I'm telling you, the chemistry between those two, it's real, it's apparent, and it's showing up over and over and over again in camp. And this is not some BS defense he's thrown against. He's thrown against the Niner defense in practice, and he's doing really damn well. This kid is going to be easily a top 8 QB. Just putting it out there.
He's going to be. He's got that. Look. A few years ago, it was Lamar Jackson. Last year, it was Jalen Hurts. This year's Trey Lance. Don't make the mistake.
He's Jalen Hurts with the best weapons in the NFL. Like, he has Debo, Kittle, Ayuk. I mean, come on now. And then he's got Kyle Shanahan's big brain to get him creative and be able to get him loose. I'm telling you, this kid, all the hate that he was getting for no reason, absolutely no reason. If you bought the dip on that, congratulations. That's another league winner. I'm telling you right now, Trey Lance.
There you go. DFS Army making those calls. So for Brandon, I'm Flex Shane, and we are the DFS Army Fantasy Football Show. Peace out.